Coach Rodgers. I consider you my coach, my mentor, and my friend. You taught me to care for everyone, push those around me, and never settle for anything less. You've taught us to play the game with discipline, execution, and great effort. I'm so proud to be a Corky's boy. And the reality of what was happening was set in by these letters. Just the number of letters that we got, I couldn't keep up. This one's from Mac, Coach Rodgers.
You have led thousands and thousands of men and turned them from boys to men. I want you to know how grateful I am. I'm so glad I had you as my head coach.
Long before he became the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, Mac Jones was a freshman at the Bolles School in Jacksonville, Florida, playing for head coach Corky Rodgers.
We're gonna win this battle right here!
It was hard for me just because he was very tough on me, and I'm already hard on myself.
He was tough on everybody. You know, he did not play favorites. If you were the best player on the team or the worst player on the team, he treated you the same, and he expected the same of you.
If you held the ball too long in practice, he'd like sit there and look at you and be like, if you hold it any longer, it'll hatch. So it always made me get the ball out fast.
How often do you think of that now?
A lot. Almost every time I get sacked or something, I'm like, there it is, if I hold the ball too long, so.
With Jones at the helm, the Bolles football team flourished, reaching the state championship game in 2016.
When we would watch film, he would always say, you know, this kid's pretty smart and he can throw the football. After Mac realized that, you know, there was nothing personal, they just grew on each other.
But Rodgers' health was starting to decline.
I knew, like, you know, halfway through my high school career that he wasn't doing great. As time went along, like, he would coach us out of the golf cart, and I kind of knew, like, I was like, okay, he's not doing as well because he almost always would be on the field, but he still never missed a practice. And I know that my senior year, there was days like he should not have been out there, and he just battled through it.
In 2016, after 45 years, he retired from coaching, while Jones moved on to the University of Alabama. In January of 2020, doctors discovered cancer in Rodgers' kidneys. It was spreading quickly, forcing him to move to hospice care.
He was that proud old coach that just didn't want to let his players and friends and everybody see him in that state. The letters started because he wasn't accepting any more visitors.
The letters, filled with gratitude and encouragement for Rodgers, were all written by his former players. His family received more than 150 of them.
He had tons of doctors and nurses coming in and out, so in between those visits, I would ask him if he was ready to listen, and if he said yes, I would just start reading them. Coach, I just want to say that you are, and always will be, a superhero to me. What is remarkable is that I'm one of thousands of the same. The lessons you instilled in me and so many others will reverberate for many years. I think we owe much of the success in life. Shot at it to you. You have won the game called life. He would respond a little bit. Sometimes he would comment on the letters. Other times he would just let it soak in. He would respond physically, like move or shrug, or even, I could tell he was getting emotional, even in the final hours.
In February of 2020, one more letter arrived from the next starting quarterback for Alabama.
Coach Rodgers, I wanted to play for you since I was 6 years old. We talked on the phone after the season, and I'm so glad we did. You have led thousands and thousands of men and turned them from boys to men, myself included. He connected with so many people, and that's the first thing I thought about is like, it wasn't all about him, it was all about everybody else and how he could affect people, and he left that impact on a lot of people.
I read it to him, and he had that teared up face, and he didn't say anything after, but he just kind of turned his head and just had this emotional kind of peace about him. And then the commitment of Mac to try to dedicate his season, it was just beautiful.
I am dedicating this season for you, Coach, and I will give it everything I've got.
Before he could see Jones fulfill that promise, Corky Rodgers passed away on February 26, 2020. The next fall, a season he dedicated to his high school coach, Mac Jones led the Alabama Crimson Tide to their 18th national title.
I think that we just kind of had that bond, like a father-son type bond, if you want to look at it that way. The amount of times he was trying to push me, and it was all for the better, and it made me a lot tougher.
That bond between coach and quarterback continues to guide him through his time with the Patriots.
You taught me the value of a team and being a team player. They say you cannot teach toughness, but you taught me toughness. I live by your favorite quote: the only thing you can control is your attitude and your effort. I love you, Coach. Mac Jones.